जय गोपी जनवल्लभा जय गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन यमुना तीरावनचारी यमुना तीरावनचारी यमुना तीरावनचारी यमुना तीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जयो गंधर्विका गिरिधारी गौर हरि गंधर्विका गिरिधारी गौर हरि जय गंधर्विका गिरिधारी गौर हरि गंधर्विका गिरिधारी गौर हरि जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जय अनंत देव लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जय अनंत देव जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जय Jayo Nitai Gaur Sundar Jayo Nitai Gaur Sundar Nitai Gaur Sundar Jayo Nitai Gaur Sundar Jayo Jayo Prabhupada 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 Jayo Jayo Prabhupada हरिनाम संकीर्तन की श्रीला प्रभुपाद की Hare Krishna. So welcome everyone for today's Bhagavad Gita class. So we will be going through the text number 6 of chapter 3 and text number 7. So 6 and 7 today we will discuss on this one. So you can repeat after me. Karmendriyani Samyama Ya Aste Manasa Smarana Indriyarthan Vimudatma Mithyacharah Saha Uchyate Karmendriyani Samyamya Ya Aste Manasa Smaran Indriyarthan Vimudatma Mithyachara Sa Uchyate Karmendriyani Samyamya Ya Aste Manasa Smaran Indriyarthan Vimudatma Mithyachara Sa Uchyate Karmendriyani Samyamya Ya Aste Manasa Smaran Indriyarthan Vimudatma Mithyachara Sa Uchyate Karmendriyani Samyamya Ya Aste Manasa Smaran Indriyarthan Vimudatma Mithyachara Sa Uchyate. Anybody would like to read the shloka? Okay. So you can repeat after me the word to word meaning. Karmendriyani, the 5 working sense organ. Samyamya, controlling. Yaha, anyone who. Aste, remains. Manasa, by the mind. Smarana, thinking of. Indriyarthan, sense objects. Vimudha, foolish. Atma, soul. Mithya acharah, pretender. Saha, he. Uchyate, is called. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. One who restrains the sense of action, but whose mind always dwells on sense object, certainly deludes himself and is called a pretender. Purport. There are many pretenders who refuse to work in Krishna consciousness, but make a show of meditation, while actually dwelling within the mind upon sense enjoyment. Such pretenders may also speak on dry philosophy in order to bluff sophisticated followers, but according to this verse, these are the greatest cheaters. For sense enjoyment, One can act in any capacity of social order, but if one follows the rules and regulations of his particular status, he can make gradual progress in purifying his existence. But he who makes a show of being a yogi while actually searching for the objects of sense gratification must be called the greatest cheater, even though he sometimes speaks of philosophy. His knowledge has no value because the effects of such a sinful man's knowledge are taken away by the illusory energy of the Lord. Such a pretender's mind is always impure, and therefore his show of yogic meditation has no value whatsoever. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Savadhaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitanscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya evacha Patita Nam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivashadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we will read one more time the translation. Anybody would like to read the translation? That bold one? Want to read?
Yeah. One who restrains the senses of action but whose mind dwells on sense objects certainly deludes himself and is called a pretender.
Hare Krishna. So this is the chapter 3 of Bhagavad Gita where Krishna is speaking about the Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga means action in Krishna consciousness. That whatever action I am doing, that action is for the Lord's pleasure. If we are doing some action that is for our pleasure, it is known as sense gratification, what the Krishna mentions in this shloka. So if we go to the previous shloka of this chapter, like text 5 and 4, where Krishna mentions that in action, like a person who says that I am not doing any action, I am just sitting, like yogic, what they are doing? They are just sitting at one place, they are not doing any action. Doing action means like performing action with our 5 karma indriya, working senses. So what are our 5 working senses? So our 5 working senses are hand, leg, right? Tongue means voice, and genitals and anus. These are our 5 working senses. With that senses we do some work for getting something, right? So similarly, if some yogic practice like yoga asana where just people are sitting like this, and because they are not engaging their 5 senses in Krishna or something else, so Krishna says it is not possible for someone to just stand, like to just meditate or avoid anything with that 5 senses. It is not possible that we are not doing anything with that 5 senses. Krishna says in this shloka that a person who restrain their senses for any action, but actually what happens? Their mind, Mind is also a sense organ, right? It is on subtle level. So their mind will dwell at some other place. So we know that, right? We are sitting at here, but immediately our mind will think about something else, right? So it is not possible for any person in this world to work without anything. Like they have to work either through mind or through their body. So if a person who says that I am not working, I am just doing the yoga, so Krishna says here, he is known as pretender. What is meaning of pretender? Pretender means like I am saying something, but I am not doing that, right? So I am saying that I am not doing any activity, but actually mind is doing some activity. Mind is thinking of something. So here in purport, Prabhupada says that such a person are pretender and they speak of dry philosophy. So what is dry philosophy means? So dry philosophy means like they are doing some yoga practice, and after doing some practice they will see, okay, some people are there, now let me speak something. But whatever they will speak has of no value. Why? Because they are not practicing that thing. So there is a very incident in the life of Mahatma Gandhi also. Like there is a story. So once upon a time, there was a lady with her child. He approached Mahatma Gandhi. Actually, that child was very much inspired by Mahatma Gandhi. So he approached to that child, to Mahatma Gandhi, and asked Mahatma Gandhi that my child is eating so much of sugar. You tell him to not eat sugar. Then Mahatma Gandhi told that, okay, you come to me after 1 week. Then after 1 week, the lady again went. Then Mahatma Gandhi told that you don't eat sugar. Simply this word Mahatma Gandhi told to the child. Then lady suddenly he thought, and he asked Mahatma Gandhi that if the same word you wanted to talk, then why you have not talked before? Then Mahatma Gandhi told that I was also eating so much of sugar, but because I have to say that, then I have to stop my eating also that thing, right? So similarly, yogic practice means we are realizing something, and whatever we are realizing, if we are not speaking with that realization, that means it has of no value. People will not get attracted by that. Because why? Because Krishna, Paramatma is everybody's heart, right? In your heart, in my heart. So Krishna knows the purity of a person. He knows that this person is actually wanted to give my knowledge to somebody. But if Krishna sees that this person want to give the knowledge, but he himself is not practicing, or he is just pretending to give that knowledge, then Krishna will say, oh, this is not good. Then he will not inspire that person to attract by that person, right? So we see that there are so much yoga practice, people are inspired, people are attracted. But what happens? They may be attracted for 1 week or 2 weeks or even for 1 month. After that, what will happen? They will again go back to that same thing. They will again go back to that sinful life, right? So it has effect because it is a yoga practice, but it will not go for a long way. It will not remain for a long time. It will just remain for some days or month, and then it will diminish because we are not practicing. But for a person who is working in Krishna consciousness, this is actually, Krishna speaks about the person who is working on a knowledge platform. Like yogis, usually they want to attain Krishna, or they want to attain the Brahman through their knowledge, that by reading the scriptures or by reading the Shastras or some other thing. So by that knowledge they are actually want to attain the Supreme. But for the devotional service, the person who is performing the bhakti is devotional service. But a person who is performing the bhakti, actually for them, this verse is not applicable. Why? Why this verse is not applicable? Because service means to do some action, right? Actually, if we see here in this world, everybody is doing some kind of service, right? Either we are serving our job, or we are serving our family, or Prime Minister is serving the nation, right? Somebody is serving someone, right? Nobody can remain without doing the service. But if that service we direct to the Krishna, that is known as devotional service, bhakti. that is termed as bhakti. So when we are doing some service for the satisfaction of the Lord, then actually we are doing some activity. Krishna says that no one can remain without activity, right? So if we can't remain without activity, let engage our activity in Krishna's service. And when somebody engages that activity in Krishna's service, then it becomes devotional service. And on the path of devotional service, one will gradually attain the perfection. Because we see in Bhagavad Gita, like when we go to the 18th chapter, Krishna says that the person who is performing the devotional service and who is giving this knowledge to other is actually very dear to me. So Krishna is directly telling that who is dear to me. Like he first speaks about so many yoga systems, like this karma yoga, jnana yoga, ashtanga yoga, and then comes to bhakti yoga. And after, like in summarize, like which yoga is most like suitable and which yoga is superior. So Krishna mentions that bhaktya mam abhijanati, like a person who is performing the devotional service is actually know me. Other process are actually we can approach, but not at the final level. We can approach at the certain level, not at the very highest level. But a person who is performing devotional service can approach very high. So that's why we have to be aware who is pretending and who is genuine. So that is the first thing that we have to analyze. So a pretender, when he speaks very dry. Although that philosophy is sometimes like we think that okay, that's very nice, but after performing that like action, we again comes back to our original state, whatever we are doing, right? So we have to understand who is pretender and who is real yogic. So that is very, very important to understand from this shloka. So also, a person, if he is pretending, he will not remain for long time away from the sense object. Why? Because mind is always there. Mind is thinking, oh, I want this house, I want this car, I want this. So these people will come, they will give me money, then I will buy this, I will buy that. Right? There is a shloka in 2nd chapter which says that dhyato vishyan punsa sangasteshu upajayate. Dhyato means dhyan. When we meditate on some object in our mind, what will happen? Sangasteshu upajayate. We will develop attachment to that. Like if I think of some object in my mind every day, slowly and steadily I will develop an attachment to that object. And then what will happen? Sangasteshu upajayate, sangast samjayate kamaha. Then I will get kama to attain that object, that how I will get it. Always I will think of that. And when kama is not fulfilled, then we will get angry. Why I'm not getting? I will get angry. And once anger happens, then mind will get bewildered. Right? Because we say that we cannot take decision when we are angry. We should not say something or take decisions when we are angry. Why? Because from here Bhagavad Gita it's mentioned when we are angry, our mind is bewildered. And when mind is bewildered, our intelligence get lost. Will not think what is good, what is wrong. Will not think that. And when intelligence is lost, we will again fall down. Right? So it starts from the contemplation of an object, what we are contemplating in our mind. So that is very, very important. So that's why if a person who is always thinking of sense object, maybe after 1 year or 1 month or some period of time, he will not remain in yogic process. He will definitely start doing some sensual things, right? He will be attached to some sense objects, or after some time that yogic process will get lost. But a person who is performing bhakti, devotional service, for them it is not like that. Because when we are doing devotional service, Krishna will see, oh, this person is want to offer something to me, let me help, right? Because we have our effort, we can do some effort to approach the Lord. But when Lord wants us for him, then Lord will pull us towards him. And that is very, very easy, right? If we are falling down, it's very difficult to climb up. But if somebody throws a rope and if he pulls, It's very easy, right? So similarly, in Bhakti Yoga, it is very easy. But in other yogic process, it's very difficult because there we have to do by our own efforts, right? So that is very, very important to understand that a person, if it is pretending, he will not remain longer in the yoga process, right? So this is the chapter 3rd, text number 6 of Bhagavad Gita. So let's go to the text 7, where Krishna mentions about who is real yogic person, who is actually performing the real yoga. So let's go through that shloka. Yastva indriyani manasa niyamya bharate arjuna karmendriyo karma yogams asakta sa vishishyate. So on the other hand, if a sincere person tries to control the active sense by the mind and begins karma yoga in Krishna consciousness without attachment, he is by far superior. So what a purport Srila Prabhupada mentions, instead of becoming a pseudo-transcendentalist for the sake of wanton living and sense enjoyment, it is far better to remain in one's own business and execute the purpose of life, which is to get free from material bondage and enter into the kingdom of God. The prime Swarth Gati or goal of self-interest is to reach Vishnu. The whole institution of Varna and Ashram is designed to help us reach this goal of life. A householder can also reach this destination by regulated service in Krishna consciousness. For self-realization, one can live a controlled life as prescribed in the Shastras and continue carrying out his business without attachment, and in that way make progress. A sincere person who follows this method is far better situated than the false pretender who adopts show bottle spiritualism to cheat the innocent public. A sincere sweeper in the street is far better than the charlatan mediator who mediates only for the sake of making a living. So this shloka is very much relief for the people who are actually working. So actually what Krishna says is that attached sannyasi and detached householder. So a detached householder is far superior than a attached sannyasi. So a person, a yogic person who is very much attached for the sense thing, like he is pretending, right? But in mind he is very much attached, so he is not good. But a person who is actually working, like people are working like for the office and so many, they have different occupations. But if they are doing that occupation with a detachment, that this occupation I'm not attached, but actually whatever I'm doing for the pleasure of the Lord in Krishna consciousness, that is far better. So why it is far better? Because in Bhagavatam there is a verse come that Swarth Gati. So Swarth Gati means Swa Arth. What is self-interest? What is the self-interest for the people? So self-interest is to reach Vishnu. So this is what in Bhagavatam it mentions, that if our by doing our work, by doing our job, if we are not approaching towards the Lord, towards Lord Vishnu, then that work has of no use. We are simply wasting our time in working that thing. So that is very, very important. And in this verse, there are two purposes of life actually mentions. If we understand those two purposes, then our life will be perfect. The first is to get free from the material bondage. That is the first purpose. And the second purpose is to attain the kingdom of the God. Right? So people will say that if I get free from the material bondage, then where I will go? Right? I have refrained from all the material things. Then what is my destination? The destination is to reach the kingdom of God. So that is like both the things. Actually our scriptures, they speak about so nicely that people will not get deluded. Like they will get their path very, very right. It is not like our Shastras, they speak something only half. If we understand, if we read the Bhagavad Gita itself, we can understand what is actually our life meant for. So here in this verse, Krishna mentions that the purpose of life is to get free from the material bondage and to attain the kingdom of the God. And how we can do that? By our regulated service in Krishna consciousness. Regulated service. What is means by regulated service? That is very, very important. So regulated service means like everyone in this world has some occupation, right? Somebody like doing there some kind of a job, right? So, but regulated means I am doing that service as per the regulations of the scriptures. Like suppose the Brahmana, right? What is their occupation? To preach the message of Godhead, right? To teach others about the scriptures. That is the Brahmana's business, right? And then Kshatriya. What is the dharma of Kshatriya is? To protect the citizen, right? And then Vaishya, business class. That is meant for like to give the food stuff to the human being, because Kshatriya is busy in protecting. So Vaishya will do, like they will protect the cows and they will do business, like producing the grains and then like feeding the population. And then comes the Shudra. Their business is to work, to support these three classes, right? So if a person, according to his nature, if he is doing his activity according to the scriptures, that means the regulated life. And if we are doing according to scriptures, that means we are not doing any kind of sinful activities. Sinful activities means going against the scriptures. So if scriptures mention that don't kill animal, and if somebody is killing animal, that means it's a sinful activity, right? So that is very, very important to understand. So we have to be regulated according to our Vedas or according to our scriptures. So that we have to understand. So here very nice example mentioned that a sincere sweeper in the street is far better than a charlatan mediator who mediates only for sake of making a living. So sweeper, why it's good? Because actually he is sweeping, he is cleaning something, right? So we are actually observing that thing, that okay, he is cleaning something. But charlatan mediator, what he is doing? He is making some false thing to get some kind of living, right? To get some kind of money. So that is the example we can understand. So if we want to do some act, because everyone cannot remain without activity, so let that act in the service of the God. So if that acts in the service of the God, then we can be immediately free from the material bondage and we can attain the kingdom of the God. So that is very, very easy path that Krishna explains in these two shlokas. So these two shlokas are very, very important because we all are doing some work. So if we follow these two shlokas, then we can be very, very easily attain the perfection of the life. So, and also we have to be very much careful from the people who are just pretending, not telling something else, but doing something else, right? So this is very, very important. We can understand. And in case if anybody has any question on this two shloka, anybody would like to, any question or any comment? Okay. So if there are no questions, thank you so much. Thank you for your time. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.